That moment when you get false countdowns.
Yeah,
when you're
let's
going
see
live.
how long we can smile until we're actually live. We're live? Okay.
We are live now.
All right. Hey, guys, what's going on? Welcome to our live weekly at 1-ish p.m. Dealing with some technical difficulties today, but my name is Brandon Leon. I am joined by my beautiful wife, Vanessa, also same last name. And I know what you're thinking. My wife's not beating me or anything. I got the worst case of poison oak you could ever imagine all over my body. Yes. All
Please
over my body.
tell them what you were doing to get such poison oak.
Yeah, just don't go out in nature ever again, and then you'll be okay. But
Nature attacks you.
That's not what we're going to talk about today. Today
No.
we're excited to kind of, we're always looking for what's trending, what's hot, what's going on in the real estate market, to make sure you guys are informed. And so we're talking about the hottest thing since avocado toast today. So
I sure do love avocado toast.
Yeah, I remember I judged it a lot until I had it. And then now I find myself making it. Is that a millennial thing?
I guess it is.
Well, so what we're going to really talk about today is the re-emerge or the rebound of new home sales in the Sacramento region. Now, one could argue it's up, nationwide, but in the Sacramento area in general, it's up quite a bit, especially from later 2021 or 2022, maybe the later half of 2022, when interest rates were skyrocketing. I mean, no one would buy a new house. And now it seems like that's kind of the trend. So we want to talk about the positives and negatives about buying a new home and which builders we kind of like, and how to make sure that if you're buying a new home, you get the best deal possible, right? Mm-hmm. So what the heck do new homes have to do with avocado toast?
Well, I don't know yet, but really, we scour a lot of information to come up with these lives for you. And this one we got from Ryan Lundquist.
Yeah,
right?
Ryan Lundquist, local appraiser, always comes up with great information. What we like to do is take his graphs and put a perspective on it. He shares a lot of great graphs.
Great information.
Yeah. So we're kind of bringing this from a story that he wrote, which I think is important, just to put things into perspective, because some of you right now may be stuck, right? You're saying, I want to sell my house. I want to buy a larger, more spacious house. I want to move to a different city, whatever the case is, but you're stuck because of high interest rates. And so you're like, man, I have a 3 or 4% interest rate. I can't go buy a 6.5% interest rate and spend all of that money. And so you're kind of stuck. And so we feel like we have a couple options or a couple solutions. We've done some other live videos. If you want to go back and take a look on some interesting loan options to be able to save some money on interest rates. But if you're looking on buying right now, this is a great option for you to be able to get lower interest rates, save some money, get some money towards upgrades and things like that as well. So a new home is a big part of that. So if you're just joining us, like, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions about new homes specifically, reach out to us.
So the whole joke is that they said millennials weren't going to be buying homes because they're too busy buying avocado toast. Because, you spend like $10 for a slice of bread with avocado.
And everything. And everything
all the
seasoning.
things, whatever fixings you like. But now there's this new stat that came out from First American Title that 51% of millennials own a home now. So millennials are a huge generation. Like I'm a millennial.
Millennial.
This guy's a millennial
on the upper end.
Upper end.
1983.
But
I'm a millennial.
He's a millennial. So
Gen X.
The man behind the screen
the man,
is Gen X.
The man in the chair. You're Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like avocado toast?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. See,
all right.
It's
the
not
minority.
Just millennials.
Yeah.
No.
It's for everyone.
But did we create it?
Okay. If you are watching this, you have to comment. Do you like avocado toast or not like avocado toast? I'd love to hear from you.
And then if you're brave, just put in your generation.
Yeah.
Here's the thing
avocado
is that
toast generation.
Millennials are very brave and they'll be like, I'm a millennial.
Yeah. It's easy for millennials. Yeah. They don't care.
And then you have the Z's.
Yeah.
And then my children are the alphas.
Oh, we're starting back over from the beginning?
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
That's what they all do.
Where are we going? I don't know.
They all do that.
We need to just start off.
Yes. So let's talk a little about new homes in general. So in 2023, there's been this like huge rebound of new homes where later last year there was a good people were getting deals because they were standing inventory because the new homes weren't selling, and so they were able to get a significant discount on a house that was built that someone couldn't buy because the interest rates went up and they could no longer qualify. So that was kind of the deal later last year.
So even just like the little history, like I remember maybe 2019, that maybe even 2020, where it was so, the market was so crazy that people are going in order to get a new home that you wouldn't actually live in for another 6 months or so. They were doing like lotteries, right? So it was
Yeah.
like everyone was putting their name in, hoping and wishing and praying that their name would get selected to get that home. So like
Yep.
we're going from, some people that still remember that, like you're going from that era to then all of a sudden they have homes built ready to go for their owner, and then they got bought, like what do you call it? Like bought out of the market basically because of the interest rate went up on them in the time that the new home and all that was built. So like now from there, now so we went from people with standing inventory where the
Yeah.
house is actually built and just waiting to be owned.
Yeah, DR Horton Express was common for that. Like I remember at one point we had a client that was one of like 120 offers on their entry level home in West Roseville. It's crazy. So there was a case, there was a point, and maybe some of you were looking then and you're like, I'm not doing this again.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not like that now.
Right.
But what's interesting is just looking at the numbers. So in 2023, we're up significantly, 37.8% in our area in new builds. And what's interesting about that is we're up that much from 2016 to 2019 volume from that time. But what I found interesting is just looking at different stats and things. We all think it's Bay Area buyers that are buying these new homes. Mm-hmm. Even me, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, because the conversations we have, and it's the amount of conversations we have or things that we hear from friends or family. But now it's not as much the Bay Area buyers that are buying these new homes. It's actually local people because the new home builders are giving concessions. They're giving $20,000, $30,000 sometimes. Now,
what are concessions, Bob?
There's a caveat to that. I'll talk about that in a minute. But concessions are when a seller is going to give an incentive to a buyer to buy their house. It may be in the form of upgrades. We'll give you X amount of dollars towards your upgrades for the house. And it may be we'll give you $10,000 to buy down your interest rate. So that's kind of where the value comes in. If the interest rates are 6.5 and you can spend $10,000 and get a 6% interest rate or 6.125, it's definitely going to save you money over the long haul. Then they'll also, if you work with their preferred lender, a lot of times you'll get some money towards your actual closing costs, which will help your overall money that you bring to the closing table. So as you can see, there's 3 different ways that the sellers are giving concessions with new homes that can be valuable to you. So that's why a lot of people are flocking, because they can pick their lot, they can pick their house, they can get concessions, and they could be able to get into a house for sometimes a little bit less money. And when you compare that to the resale, like the other side of that is we have 40% less inventory this year than we did last year.
So I would think that if the builders are seeing that kind of stat, then they would be upping their game because there's not a lot of inventory. So the more new homes, the more inventory. So the people are going to be going to new homes, right?
And so that begs the question, okay, if new homes are rebounding and there's a lot going on with new homes, then how can I sell my house and buy a house like at the same time, right? Because then I have to have a place to go, right? Mm-hmm. So that is a common question. And what we found is even right now, like we just helped a family sold their house in Antelope, bought a house in Roseville. They got an 11,000 square foot lot. They were able to get one of the first houses in a new development, which that's when they're kind of the less expensive, right? And they actually were just like, okay, we're going to go save money and they have 3 children. They're like, we're going to go live with mom. We're going to go save money for 6 months while
And
our
they've
house is
looked
being
at they
built.
looked at resales,
We
right?
looked
So
at
it
everything.
wasn't like they were just open.
Mhm.
They only wanted new homes, because there are some people that just want new, but they really did explore all the avenues, and the new home ended up being the best choice.
They got everything they wanted, the square footage, the yard, for a little bit more than what they would have paid on the resale. And it's not like that in every case, but
Right.
I think too many people, when they look at the interest rates, just shut themselves down altogether. That, hey, I'm not going to buy. I'm going to wait for the interest rates to go down. But if more people are feeling that way, where's the opportunity for you if you're in a situation where maybe you want to buy a house with land, and you have equity in your current home? There are creative loan solutions to be able to help you do that. So, I'm not going to get into all the loan stuff, but let's just look at a graph. Let's just look at in new construction sales in the Sacramento region. And as we look at the new construction sales in the Sacramento region, we are right now in 2023 with 2021 and 2022. So our new home sales are higher than they've been in the past 10 years, right? Other than 2021,
Yeah, that's
2022,
wild.
which, much higher than 2020. And so we're going to see that number continue to rise. And later in this video, we're actually going to go over nationally what builders are growing the fastest, like which ones are having the highest sales, which I think is super valuable. And we have the builders that we kind of like more than others, and some that are local here. But when you look at those sales, it's pretty alarming. Now, let's go from that, as we're looking at the high sales for new homes. Let's go to the trend for existing homes. So existing homes are what we call resale homes, right? Gently used homes that you're going to buy that were gently used by someone else. So now we're going to look at the Sacramento region kind of monthly sales volume. And you look at how much lower that is compared to the last few years. Like, it's the lowest it's been also in 10 years. So, and that's the limited inventory. And those of you watching this probably already know that a lot of the reasons why people aren't selling is because of the high interest rates. But the people that are selling here and getting into those new homes are kind of getting that sweet spot. Now, we have been successful with people selling their house and buying a house at the same time. That can happen. We just have to have a very specific plan on doing so. So with those sales down, with the new home sales up, like, how can you take advantage of buying a new home and getting the best deal? Now, this is the most important thing. If you're
The
nothing
most
else,
important part.
if you're nothing else, do not wander into a new home community by yourself. Why?
Because if you go in there, okay, you walk into a new home place, you are like their perfect person, because you walk in, you sign up, and that's it. No questions asked. It's just like, oh, that's nice, and that's nice. Oh, great. Let's move on to your upgrades. And then they carry out the process, and you're just being led through. However, if you go in with an agent, now you have an agent representing you that is going to ask the questions. What kind of incentives are you offering right now?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go and start drilling them to the point where now you're actually getting some concessions from them, which you may not have even known were available in the first
Mm-hmm.
place. And so now you're represented. So now they have to work harder, that new home company. So
And they're going to need to work for you on your behalf to make sure that you're getting the best deal. And that's what an agent can come in and do. They can negotiate on your behalf so that you're getting the 3 types of concessions we talked about.
Yep.
You're
you
getting
have another agent too to be looking at the paperwork, and we've had this where you're looking through and you're like, whoa, wait. You said these upgrades were included, and now it's not in here. So we need to fix this paperwork right now. We're used to seeing that kind of paperwork, and the average person isn't. They kind of, just sign on the dotted line. They're excited. They assume that everything's right and good in the paperwork. A lot of times it is, but the times that it isn't, it's really valuable that someone's looking at it.
And here's a hot take for you. Did you know that you can actually negotiate a new home sale? You can buy a new home for less than what it's listed for.
What?
You can. If you're represented by a realtor and they don't have any offers currently on the table, we can submit an offer for less than what they're asking for. Weird. That's how real estate's done. But
Yeah.
That's what being represented by a realtor is going to do for you. So make sure if you are in the position where you're looking at new homes, just feel free to give us a call or
Not
give your
even
local realtor a
looking,
call.
that you're thinking about
Yeah.
new homes. You have to be represented before you walk into that
Right.
building. If you walk in and they're like, they won't even ask you if you're represented because they want to make sure they get you first. Get you. I know it sucks, but that's what they look at you as. They're like, I'm going to get their name. And if I get their name without an attachment of another agent, then you're theirs. So it's important that when you're thinking of going into a new home company or going and looking at new homes, you already have your agent, their name, their number, whatever, so that you can list their name down and say immediately when you walk in, I do have an agent. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, please proceed.
And even if you do that, we have had cases where people say, oh, no problem, just go ahead and sign in. Yeah, you're represented by an agent. Mm-hmm. And maybe we're working with someone for 3 or 4 months looking at houses, and the new home builder, we contact them and they say, oh, I'm sorry, they actually came and signed in. You weren't there on the first visit, so you can't represent them, which is super shady, by the way, but they do that. So if you are thinking about purchasing a new home, period, just give us a call. We'd be happy to set up a time where we can go represent you. Whether you're just browsing or looking at several months in the future, doesn't matter. We are not too busy to help. But that's kind of our one thing with new homes, and that's how you get the best deal. That's how you save the most money. Mm-hmm. So lastly, in wrapping up, let's talk about the national trend, right? So let's look at the national trend graph. So public home builder market share of total U.S. new home sales. So there's a research company, John Burns Research and Consulting, where they basically said, okay, here are the top new home companies and their increase in sales for the year, which I think is pretty important just to see. Now, some of these builders, these are U.S. right, home builders, so some of these aren't as prominent here in our area. But you have, like D.R. Horton and Lennar. D.R. Horton has a few different types. They have the Express Home, which is like the new brand, like a small entry level. And they have a couple other options now, seasons and things where they'll have actually like the ADUs or an attached RV garage, which is super nice. So D.R. Horton has some good stuff. Lennar so D.R. Horton is actually 10.9% growth in U.S. home sales, and Lennar is 9.7. Those are the two highest. Lennar is known for building these like really large communities where they have like 9 or 12 different floor plans, and they have them in Roseville, they have them in Antelope, they have them in Sacramento. They're not known as giving good incentives and giving good deals. We've had a lot of buyers that aren't happy with them. They pride themselves on the technology, and I don't think they build a bad product, but that's not where you're going to be able to get the best deals and the best incentives, in my opinion. One that I like on this list, Taylor Morrison in the area. Great incentives, great house, great process. Clients have been very happy. So that's kind of my top pick of everyone from the list. But you can kind of look at this list in more detail. And it's really going to depend on the type of home you like and the type of style you like. And so typically what happens, like let's say that you're someone that even lives out of the area and is relocating. There are some hot spots right now in the area that are growing. You have Rockland and Roseville, but you have Folsom. Folsom Ranch is blowing up. Elk Grove, they're building out there. Like Taylor Morrison is building a lot in Folsom Ranch right now. There are surrounding areas that you might want to take a look at. And instead of trying to do it all on your own, just feel free to shoot us a call, send us a direct message, shoot me a text message directly. It doesn't even matter. We can get you connected on what we call kind of a city or an area tour. We can go look at new homes on a weekend for you to be able to see what areas and types of builders and homes fit best for you to see if it makes sense. And that's kind of the best place to start, because it starts with the research, but you got to physically see it. Yeah. So that's just kind of an offer to you guys here to help, whether you're local or you're moving from out of the area.
So, are new homes better than avocado toast?
I don't know. Are they?
I don't know either.
Yeah. I want avocado toast, though.
Where can we get the best avocado toast in the area, though? That's
a good one. That's a good one.
I really like Shady.
Oh.
Yeah, a little Shady coffee and tea.
Yeah,
they have good
Shady
avocado
coffee
toast.
and tea. They have really good avocado toast. Because they have sourdough, and then they have the avocado, and then you can have egg, and then you can put bacon on it, and tomato. It's
That's in
just,
Roseville.
and it's
Shady.
sprinkled with the best little seasonings.
So a bacon sandwich with avocado.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, it's great.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us this week on our weekly live. We want to hear from you. If there's anything else you want us to cover in the area, questions you have, reach out to us directly or comment here. And we will see you next week around 1 p.m.
Yes.